Then at 23 all, I thought, I'm gonna be a hero and I'm gonna do it again. Jack Sock countered it once again, screams in my face, and we end up losing. So that was a tough one. I wish I had seen this video before that match.
What do you think is one of the main reasons that players don't move up a level?
Players will work on every single shot in the book, but they don't have a foundation of decision making. It becomes very difficult for them to utilize the right shot at the right time.
Where can someone get a foundation for decision making?
I would say
this video. You're supposed to say this video.
Okay. We didn't discuss that.
But this is Augie Guy, Arizona Pickleball League champion, Major League Pickleball champion. In fact, let's get a round of applause, everybody. Nobody else is here. Hey, excited you're here, and we're gonna, without further ado, let's get into it. This is gonna be the three-part formula that helps you play so good, you shock yourself. Can you think of a story or like a time where this was in play, or like, because I know you think about the game somewhat like this.
I more or less have Kyle's like template in the back of my mind always as my foundation for decision making. There was one day in the regular season in Major League Pickleball where we played the Carolina Pickleball Club in the morning, that's Ben Johns and Colin Johns, and then we played the New York Hustlers in the second half of the day. JW and I, we prepared mostly for Ben and Colin because we don't have a very good record against them, and then we beat New York 4-0 the day before. And we actually ended up beating the Johns, which we were super pumped about, and then 10 minutes later, we were told we have to go play the New York Hustlers. So we were all kind of frazzled after a big win. Everyone was just not super intentional getting right into it. And for me, I just thought, I beat Ben and Colin, like, I'm that guy. I'm gonna start flicking balls from below the height of the net, as if these world-class players are not good at pickleball, which they absolutely are. I flicked one from below the height of the net early on, and I kind of got a lucky reflex volley, and we won the point. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this. And then we were down like 10-13. I did it again, got countered straight into my chest. And then at 23 all, I thought, I'm gonna be a hero, and I'm gonna do it again. And I did it. Jack Sock countered it once again, screams in my face, and we end up losing. So that was a tough one. And yeah, I guess I wish I had seen this video before that match. While certain shots might work that aren't necessarily high percentage, it still might not be in your best interest to hit them all the time.
But that leads us to the first part of the formula. The first part of this formula is no attacks off the bounce. Now, before we get into this and before you click away from the video because you don't agree with that, we're gonna do as controlled of an experiment as possible. Here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna feed Augie, he's gonna hit me a dink back, and then I'm gonna speed up the ball off the bounce. We're gonna do 10 reps, and we're just gonna do it one time, so it's very honest. My goal is to try to win this point against Augie. His goal is to counter and try to win the point against me. Let's just get some data before we start talking about it, okay? One. Ooh, nice, all right, 1 for 1. Feed, 1. In? 2 for 2.
Wow.
2 for 3. 1. Okay, 2 for 4. Yeah, 1.
No.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's go. Speed. Yeah, it's interesting because you know I'm gonna speed up,
yes.
Which of course in a game, like, I mean, well, if you're good, you kind of have a read on when I might. Maybe just take me through your thought process, playing at the very highest level against the very best players.
I think with off the bounce speed ups, there is a time and place, absolutely. But in general, off like a neutral dinking rally, in the types of neutral dinking rallies that I experience, the dink is usually so good that it's quite hard to speed up off of a neutral dink.
A neutral dink, let's just define it so everyone can see it. So like, well, how would you define it?
Like an average dink in a dink rally.
So like these would all be considered neutral?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you think it's hard to hit an off the bounce speed up in a neutral dink because?
Because at the pro level, everyone's hands are so fast, and also a neutral dink is a neutral dink because we're trying to hit not attackable dinks.
What if it's working? Like I did 4 out of 10 against you, they're not playing you.
Right.
Let's say they're playing someone slightly weaker on that side and it works more often than not. What's your take on that?
Well, if you're playing against weaker players and you know that it's working a majority of the time, then I think by all means speed up off the bounce.
Yeah.
That's why you see like some NBA role players who maybe go play overseas and then they look like absolute superstars, but here in the NBA, they were confined to one specific role. You have more freedom to kind of do as you please against weaker players, I would say.
All right, here's the second part of the formula. It's no below the net, out of the air speed ups. So just to define what that is, anytime I'm leaning in, I go from a very low position, right? And I'm hitting up on the ball. Let's do another experiment. So it'll be the same thing. I'll be feed, then you'll come back to me, and then I'll attack that ball. You could go to my forehand or my backhand. Okay.
Oh,
sorry.
Good shot.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good leave. Oh, out, but in on the court. Oh, it's out.
It.
How does he know that's going out? I don't get that.
Wow. That's a good shot.
Nice. Number one. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. What's your takeaway?
Despite you getting the same amount of points compared to the off the bounce, that actually the out of the air might have been a little tougher for me to deal with.
Why?
Just because I think there's more disguise from out of the air because you're creating more from a smaller motion, and also I have less time to react.
Yeah, I also think that to that point, like if you're, let's say you're a 3-5 or a 4-0 player, I talk to my buddy Tyler about this all the time. Tyler is a player who has a really powerful forehand, and in many of the games that he plays, he does take off the bounce speed ups. It's like the point of this video is not to say off the bounce speed ups are bad. I think more than anything, it's to talk about the highest probability plays, that if you make those the most often, you're probably gonna win more. For Tyler, it can work against the players he's playing. But then when Tyler gets in a game that's like a half a level up, a 5-0 game, he tries to play the same way and he takes the exact same speed ups and it doesn't work as much. And then he gets in the car afterwards and he's like, man, I just played my worst pickleball. And I'm like, no, you actually played the exact same as you always play. The players on the other side are just a little bit better. I think that's an interesting like insight for training, back to what you originally said, training and playing for where you're at now and keeping in mind what is the next thing that's coming, like who are the next players that you're playing. How did you think about that as you were like going up levels?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, playing in like high level games like with Kyle and guys like Craig Johnson and Pessa, local guys, local pros, I was always trying to just keep the ball in play because I always wanted to get invited back, and I knew if I missed too many balls, I wouldn't get invited back. And thus my attacking game, I kind of like didn't utilize my attacking game for that reason. I just focused on clean, probability-driven decision-making, and that's how I played. But then again, I know like at the kind of elite national and international pro level in pickleball, everyone is kind of vying to attack before the other player, and they're vying to hit high probability attacks. So that was kind of the next step in my progression.
Here's the third part of the formula. Take attacks from out of the air and above the net. Yeah.
Nice shot.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice shots.
Nice. Oh, it's in.
Oh!
That's nice.
Oh.
Nice. This is one. Nice.
Too good. Nice. Nice.
Okay, so 8 for 10. Percentage was way higher on the out of the air. What did you feel again, being attacked in those positions? Obviously you were giving me the higher dink, but we do know when we give the higher dink in real games too, then we have to respond. We just don't always mean to do it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was obviously way harder to defend and counter when you're attacking from balls that are at or above the height of the net. I'm definitely more on my heels rather than just ready to counter straight down.
I also felt more confident I was gonna win the points than I did when the ball was lower. The time that you have to react and like from a counter, from a low ball off the bounce and a high ball out of the air, why is that so important?
Because I guess from a lower ball, you have to hit the ball up, so I have more of an angle to counter the ball down. And also, since you have to hit the ball up, you have to hit it slower such that it doesn't travel out because it's going up. Whereas if you're attacking from the height of the net or above the net, you can hit the ball at least flat and if not straight down, and thus you can hit it faster, which gives me less time to react. Certainly though, at the highest level, when everyone is vying to attack first, there is still like a foundation of decision making in my mind. I can't just attack willy-nilly on shots that are low probability. I actually have to, on the other side, be even more
thoughtful,
sharp,
maybe? Yeah, sharp.
more thoughtful and more sharp with my decision making when I attack.
It's so hard because to play the balance between where you are now and then wanting to beat the better players,
Yes.
I think that's like a lesson for anybody playing in a better game or trying to get better. You don't have to try to create unbelievable shots in order to look special. I always thought your decision making was really sound, which made me want to play more with you. And I think if players are looking for people that they want to play with, they're often going to look for somebody that's reliable. And I think you are the definition of reliable, and you're a mixture of reliable plus shot making. And I think when you put those two things together, it's like what creates, you know, a really beautiful looking game that can play at the highest level. Because if you just have shot making, you're special in moments. If you're just like a perfect decision maker, you're never a threat. And so you also have a ceiling there. So I think there's a balance between that shot making and reliability. And I think you, I'm gonna cry.
Wow, that's so nice, Kyle. Keep going.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else. I don't have anything else.